Who's going for coffee? You going for coffee? So no one's going for coffee. Who's going for coffee?
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Who's Going for Coffee. Today, I got my good buddy on, Tony D'Alessandro. Tony's a 41-year member of Local One. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Newly retired.
Yes, a little over 3 years I got
3
out.
years now.
Yes.
Goes quick, doesn't it?
Oh,
You could have said to me right now, it was last year, I would have believed you.
Oh, damn. I got in the business February 1982 with Staley Elevator. And it's, with Local One, cannot beat it, brother.
So talk a little bit about how you got into the business. Everybody that comes on, I think everybody's story is different and
Well,
interesting.
mine was weird. I graduated high school, went to Kingsborough Community College for 2 years, and a friend of mine, actually a Local One brother, Richie Doria, he worked for Staley, called me up one day. I was working midnights in Hunts Point Meat Market, cutting pigs up. Cutting pigs, bro. He says to me, listen, the Falconettis owned Staley at the time. I said, Freddie's going to be looking for an apprentice. Are you interested? No. 19, 20 years old. How much does it pay? I didn't care about no pension or like that.
Right.
It was about the same amount of money. I says, okay, I'll give it a try. So I came in, it was, like I said, February 2nd, 1982. Got in and went to work for Staley. Staley was eventually bought out by Kone Elevator.
Yeah.
I was a shop steward for Staley for 15 years. Small operation. I mean, not small, but, for the industry, it was a small one. And then came over to Kone. I've been there, like I said, 41 years. And with our pension, the way it runs, which I always tell everybody the same thing, the difference between the international pension and not knocking anything in the industry is that our pension works by hours.
Right.
So I was in this industry 41 years. I retired with 55.3 pension years. So you build up with your overtime and all that, put a kid through college. So that's how I got in. And I've been there ever since. Then I retired 3.5 years ago. And I'm still involved. I still get phone calls now as shop steward questions.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, it's in your blood. You have to. My father always said, and I'm sure a lot of guys the same thing, if you love what you're doing,
It's not work.
it's not work.
Right.
And that's what this was never really work for me.
Yeah.
I do miss the field, but now I'm working with a company called All Star. We do third-party testing. I had my license, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but going back to your early days with Staley, so, yeah, a small shop, but not a small shop, right? They were a manufacturer, right?
Yes.
Very similar to Armor. When I started was Armor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They were a manufacturer, had a big building. We are in their building. This was Staley's shop, and built their controllers, and it was all low-rise, 6-story, right in the beginning, but boy, that was some good bread and butter for them back then. It was the same thing with Armor. Very similar companies with a very similar product.
100%.
And put a lot of people to work.
Yeah, well, when Staley's bread and butter was that 6-stop job.
Right.
Basically, Brooklyn, Ocean Parkway, it was all, and it's not for any other reason, but old man Staley was smart. He had the Jewish community was in Brooklyn. Then obviously Ocean Parkway, Bay Parkway, and the salesmen used to schmooze all these older gentlemen. They had, at one point, I read somewhere, Staley was one of the largest, if not the largest independent at that time.
They probably were.
At that time, because they had this building, they were doing their machine. They had another building in Long Island City that they would build their controllers and their machines. There was nothing between door locks, operators, they built everything.
Everything.
As a matter of fact, now with the testing, I still go to buildings and there's still these Staley controllers.
Sure they are. Right.
70 years old.
Yeah.
You would think about that. So they were good. They treated their people like family.
Yeah.
And that's how we worked. It was just a family operation.
Yeah. So it must have been when Kone bought you guys, that had to be an eye-opener for you, because I worked for Kone at the time.
That's right. You were the shop steward.
I was a shop steward. I worked for Kone at the time and came from Armour, very similar to Staley. When I started for Armour, though, Kone already owned them, right? And I think it was the early 80s that Kone bought Armour, right?
Yes.
So when I started, we were getting into the high-rise, Armour was into the high-rise market. But one of the things I remember is when you guys came over, right? Staley, like 99% of the stuff you guys worked on was your equipment, 6 stories. You might have some 10-story, you call high-rise.
That was the high-rise.
And I remember, because I was a steward for, Brooklyn and Queens, and you guys come over, and it was like, holy mackerel, like, what are we working on? And I'm going to tell you something. It went both ways, because your equipment that we never saw, because you guys were very good at keeping that equipment amongst yourselves, right? You really didn't lose a lot of your jobs. You treated your customers great, and they stayed with you. Had a couple Staley jobs here and there, but then all of a sudden, this merge happens, and we're going to Staley jobs, you guys are Kone jobs, and it was like, what are we working on here?
Funny story behind that. Rich Palizzi, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
When they bought Staley, we had the interviews, and 2 things he says to me. He says, do you want to keep your license? Which we'll get into later. The third part, the DOB. I says, are you going to pay for it? It was $25 for 3 years. Yeah, okay, no problem. We merged, like you said, and I was the steward for Staley, but we were 2 separate companies. One company, but we were separate, like you said. And we used to answer night calls with Staley equipment. And one day I realized that Staley worked different with the overtime. You got no calls. You got a 1-hour travel home.
Right.
I said to Richie, this doesn't make no sense. We're out there, Sue, and the other guys are making X amount of dollars. We're not. He got so mad at me. He says, you know what? Monday morning, we're throwing you to the wolves. See if you could fix elevators. I says, my guys could fix elevators. He was so mad that we did fine, because as brothers, we all worked together.
We took care of each other.
The story was Staley. Anybody could fix an elevator with a flashlight, a print, and a meter. None of our jobs had prints.
You didn't have prints. You had a 40-watt light bulb in the motor room.
That's right.
What's going on?
We used to call you guys, and then you'd call us, say, "What?" Yeah. I says, "Yeah, I got the numbers. Why don't they?" They refused. They didn't want you to have the print. Like they were going to steal modern technology.
Right.
But that Richie Palizzi said, "You're on your own now." All right. Yeah. It was,
and it was a learning curve for you guys. It was a learning curve for us going on your jobs, even though it was as simplistic as a piece of elevator equipment could be. It was still, what am I looking at? I don't have a print. I can't see in a motor room. There's no parts. There's no nothing.
Listen, I was terrified.
Yeah.
When I came over,
now you seen all these blinking lights.
My wife, when I said Kone was bought, a few guys retired or whatever left because they were afraid. I'm going to myself, how am I going to fix something? I'm used to high speed was 115 foot a minute. How am I? And then I realized, listen, I was knowledgeable with the elevator. It's an elevator.
Yeah.
And I said, my boss, Mario Falconetti, was going to buy another small company and start up again. And he said that he's looking to bring the old guys back. I says, they're not coming back. Why not? I says, they're working in high rises. Yep. They're making money. Like I said, Staley made no money. It was a family company. But I was terrified. I was thinking about where am I going to go? And 41 years later,
I remember, merging you guys into the night list. We used to, try and have one of you guys on with one of us, and we helped each other, right? The Staley jobs. Not that, hey, the Staley jobs come in, the Staley guy goes, no, I'll go. But now I got somebody that at 10 o'clock at night, I can call and say, hey, man, what's going on? But it
was different back then. We would meet, like you were Queens. If I was in Manhattan, there was Jimmy Reardon. Yeah. Like he was working. I'll meet you over here. Right. Now the business is just a little different. It's just how it is. You can't, with the GPS and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when we came over, and I was kind of in shock a little bit because I was waiting for the fact that where the outsiders coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? No, they treated us like
absolutely.
I'm sure the Flint Hill guys treated the Armour guys and the Montgomery, but they treated us like brothers, which is what we are.
Right.
And I would call up guys, and no problem. And I'll meet you on the job. And that's how it worked.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was a great merger. It was great guys. I think back at a lot of those guys that I worked with in Brooklyn and Queens were just all great guys. They were elevator guys, man, just busting their ass out there every day, like the rest of us, working on, different pieces of equipment. But it was nice for you guys wanting to maybe graduate a little bit into,
100%.
into high rise and see some equipment that you probably were never going to see.
It was the best thing that happened.
And it would have been fine, but yeah, it was a great thing to happen for you guys. And it was good for us too.
It was the best thing that happened to us. Like I said, I'm going to go bring it up to 41 years. Yeah. I would have never had thought that what this industry did for me. Like I said, I put my son through 4 years of college.
Yeah.
Even Kone treated us like gentlemen.
Sure.
Listen, I'm not going to knock it. The industry is family. And that's the difference between, I have friends of mine who are different, electricians, laborers, ironworkers. Local one is a family. Even today, you go to these, Long Island has a retirement luncheon every month. Queens, the guys still get together.
They do. But I'll tell you what, though, all those trades are the same. You go talk to guys, or you interact with people from these other trades. They're the same. They're family too. They're all great.
Oh yeah, no, that's not what I mean.
But they're all great places to hang your hat and earn a living. They're all great places. But just go back a little bit to when you brought something up when you became a shop steward. So you were a shop steward for Staley.
Yes.
And you continued to be a shop steward for Kone.
That's when Brian was the shop steward in Manhattan.
Right.
And he went to work for Otis, and then I said to him, would you mind if I, continue I don't know, he was fine. And so at that point, Manhattan guys, right. And I became a shop steward with Kone.
And you were a shop steward till you retired?
Till I retired, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a shop steward still. I was just telling Matt, I still get phone calls to ask, which I love, because I still keep in touch with everybody. They ask questions about the contract and stuff like that.
I'm sure there's guys that were comfortable talking to you, and even though you're not here no more, still,
100%.
Give you a shout.
100%.
That's the guy that always, gave me my answer, or somebody I just want to maybe talk to anyway,
The funny thing is, my wife, when I retired, and my wife said, so wait, you're no longer a shop steward? I says, no. So the phone's not going to ring all hours of the night? Can't promise you that, but no.
Yeah.
So that's, I actually loved it. It was great.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. The one thought out there with being a shop steward, this is what was told me. I took over for Stevie Cullen. Stevie worked in the city, right? The hitman, one of my favorite people in this business.
Yes.
And when I became a journeyman, it was not long after that, he wanted to hand that thing off, and I'm like, I'll take that. That's what I want to do. And the one thing I always heard from people was, it's a thankless job. And you want to know something? There's a little truth to that.
Somewhat.
There's a little truth to that, right? Where some people, might not appreciate what you do or not realize what you do. But I got to tell you, man, I think it was the opposite. I think it was a very fulfilling job. I mean, I think most of the guys did appreciate what you did for them, knew what you were doing for them. Right?
100%.
I don't think it was a thankless job.
No, when you get a guy who calls you up, whatever the reason is, maybe it's a dispute with the boss, or pay, or pension. But then when you get somebody who calls you up the next day, listen, Tony, I just wanted to tell you, thanks.
Yeah.
I said, no, that's my job. He goes, no, it's not your job. You care. And I've got multiple. I get worked up with it, because I get guys, it's not your job. You care. Even today, when I goofed around and they call me, I'm calling you because I know you care about certain things. And when I used to deal with the bosses, I had this thing with them. I sat down with the Rob Rogers, with the mall. I said, listen, you and I are not going to agree on things. We're going to sit down, and Joe Schmo has a problem. Let's work it out. If we can't work it out, then we step it up.
Right. But
I was always told I was getting the respect because I cared for my job. And that's what I love the most, when somebody, or even a boss, nothing with a boss, thank you. I could call it, thank you. You doing no, it's not my job. My job, it's a brotherhood. If you got a brother or a sister, you're going to step up for them. And that's what it is. We're brothers and sisters. And I always felt that way. My wife goes, why would you do? Because I remember we were in lockout. And guys were almost, you were there.
Yeah.
Guys almost lost their homes.
Yep.
We collected money and stuff. My wife said, no, because I turned down things because give it to the guy because he's going to lose his house.
Right.
What about you? I'll be fine. I always looked out for the other guy. And that's why I love that job.
Yeah, it was a great job. It really was.
Yeah.
I found it very rewarding.
It's rewarding.
You know, you get put in a pickle sometimes, and, you know, sometimes you got to make a tough choice that, you know, might not be that popular, and it is what it is, but it was a great, rewarding job. It's you know, any young member that comes and says, hey, man, how do I get involved? You know, that's a great stepping stone is becoming a steward. You know, if you want to ultimately get involved, you know, with the whole maybe someday running for a position.
100%.
Becoming a shop steward is like,
well, I told guys, and you guys remember when you, actually, we had the apprenticeship program. My situation was with my kids and all that. I couldn't get, like, God bless everybody who gets involved totally. I mean, out of the house 6 days a week doing things for this union, great.
Right.
I just couldn't do it at that point.
Right.
But I've been involved with the mentor program. I just tell these kids, you don't have to be there 7 days a week.
You don't.
Just get involved a little bit. Talk to the next guy. I tell them, you're in the business, even you're in business 3 years. The new kid comes into Kone. He just got hired. Pull him on the side. Make him feel welcome. Let him feel like he is here. He needs anything, here's my phone number. And that's all you need.
Yeah.
It's pay it forward.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, it's an unrealistic expectation that people are going to be available 8 days a week, right? It's just not. Now, there are some that are,
yeah,
and that's great, and there are some that aren't. But it comes down to when we need you, those times when we really truly need you to be there,
100%.
and that might be just once a year.
Yeah,
come to a couple of meetings, but. You know, the other thing, too, is you can be a great member of this local and be a productive member of this local by doing a good job, right? Being on that job site and having a neat workplace and doing the job right. That's part of it, too, you know? So it's not just,
no, you're
listen,
right.
We need guys at rallies. We need guys on picking lines. We need guys, you know, on committees. The picnic is Saturday, right? Probably got 60, 70 guys on a picnic committee. We need that, too. But listen, life gets in the way, and sometimes it's not so easy for people to get involved, but it's when we need you.
That's right.
Those important times when, hey, man, it's crunch time, like when we're applying for licensing and we need the whole membership to digitally sign a letter, or we need whatever.
Doesn't have to be.
That's when we really need everybody.
You get a phone call, can you do me a favor? And I was always, what? When? You know, if I can't do it, I'll help out.
Sure.
I'll get somebody to do whatever.
Yeah.
Like you said, the rallies or the picket lines.
Yeah.
It's just show up. Don't show up. There are some guys we know in every industry, they show up twice in their career to get their union card and get their gold card.
Right.
You know, and then they ask, well, what about me? I'm not asking you to be the Jimmy Hoffa. I just come by a meeting and say, listen, what can I do to help?
Right.
You know, like you said, the picnic Saturday. There's a picnic committee. I'll be there Saturday. What do you need? I need you to watch. Okay, that's it. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's, well, what's in it for me? No, what's in it for you is this brotherhood.
Right.
You know, so that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So listen, you got your kid in the business.
Yes.
So was that always a plan coming up through high school? He must have had some other plans like that. I am not working in the elevator industry. I'm going to do X.
No, that was, yeah, you laugh. It's, when the idea was, well, you know my situation with my oldest son. He was going to come into business.
Right.
So things happened. My son Nicholas was big lacrosse player. He was going to go to college. He did go to college. I laugh. What he majored in lacrosse, minored in beer pong.
Right.
But he did not want, not that he didn't want to, because I took everybody, my kids, during the lockout, they came with me. When I worked, like say the Port Authority on a Saturday, sometimes I would take them just to hang out. Didn't want nothing to do with it. When he graduated college, he said, you know, all those times you brought me there, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I should give it a try. I says, really? And I was proud. I says, okay, well, now I'm first generation. My father was a GC in construction. So there was no, he says, I want to give it a try. And his future wife, which is getting married next week, says to me, he is panicking because he thinks that he can't do it.
Right.
He says, Nick, give it a try. He came in, Kone hired him. He loves it. I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah.
We're just looking at this thing the other day that not everybody is cut out to sit behind a desk. You know what I mean? We all need blue collar workers. So long story short, I didn't even think he was ever going to want to do it. And he wound up loving it. Now he's working for Kone. He's going to be 4 years. He's with Kone, and couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah. So that's got to make mom and dad happy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Seeing him settled and he's got a great job. Listen, as parents, we never stop being parents. You want his life to be better than your life. And for him to get into this, he might have some crazy thoughts like, oh, where's this going? You know where it can potentially go. You're living it. I don't want to say there's no ceiling, but you can, and I always stress this into everybody, you can go as far as you want to go. Yeah.
Like you ran the school for a while, and everyone knows education, take classes. That's the other thing I try to tell these kids. Yeah, you finished school. You took your mechanics class. Congratulations. What about now? Oh, I'm done. No. You're
not done.
Take classes.
Yeah.
You can go home. I think, right, you can go online and take a class from home. Knowledge is power. And if you learn this business and you're good at it, there's no ceiling. You can be unbelievable. I'm telling you.
The other thing too with knowledge, and you're right, knowledge is power, but the more classes, the more certifications, the more knowledge you have, your chances of being employed 100% of the time just go up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, 100%.
Listen, it's a roller coaster. It's a sine wave, up and down, up and down. And to survive those dark times,
well, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
You see it from time to time. The people that are going to continue to work are the ones that apply themselves and got every cert known to man. They can do any job.
And your boss is going to look, I got to make a layoff.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Schmo's, he just does his 40 hours a week. He's not really, not producing, but they look at a kid like, not because it's my son. Let's say my son, listen, they call him up, I need him, he's there. He's taking these classes, he's got his certifications, he's rigging maybe, welding, DOB license. You're going to have a job.
You are.
The other guy, well, long story short, I tell my son when he graduated, he was funny because whenever he finished school, from high school to college, that summer, I got him employed somewhere. And he used to get mad at me. All my friends are hanging out. I don't care. You're going to go to work. You're going to, And when he graduated college during COVID, I got him a job of building pools on Long Island. He got mad at me again. I said, what do you think is going to happen when all these kids get to their bosses? Well, what'd you do this year? Well, it was COVID. There was nothing going on. Well, did you try to get jobs? Oh, when they were collecting unemployment, whatever. No, if you tell them I was doing this, this, and this, you're going to get hired.
Sure.
You're going to keep on working because they know you have that drive.
Right.
And my father taught me that. He actually, a couple of months ago, he said, you know what, Dad, you were 100% right. And I want to thank you for that. His work ethic now is, he never thought he'd get up 5 o'clock in the morning and work 12-hour days. Yeah, nobody's giving you nothing. No. You're going to earn it. And he does. He loves it. Which again, I love the fact he loves his business.
And he's doing great. Listen, he's a good kid. I know exactly who he is, and he does everything we ask him to do. He's, if we had 3,000 Nick D'Alessandros, we'd be in real great shape. We are in great shape. I think our younger members, I really feel good about our future because I think a lot of these young members come in and are smart guys. They're different than we were when you and I came into the business. It was a different business back then.
Yeah, what do you say? We're analog men in a digital world.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and he's doing a great job. I'm glad that I feel good for you. I know how it feels to have.
Yeah, you got family and your kids.
Family in the business, and you just, as a parent, your kid's settled and they're on the right path and doing well. It would be one thing if he came in and he was struggling, he hated it. Be like, man, this is terrible. But the fact that he loves working in the trades, working with his hands, and better than anybody, how that transcends to home.
Yeah.
He's doing his own work in his house.
That's right.
He's building his own deck, or he's doing his own electrical work, right? He's doing all that stuff.
That's the funny thing is they got a place, an apartment, and I'm used to when he was younger, okay, I'll meet you. last night comes home. Yeah, he built this, did that, but says, I guess you don't need me no more.
Yeah.
I got it, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, so I look at my shed, my tools are gone, but that's okay. Yeah, they learn. And when I told him when he got into business, you have a 6-month probationary period. Kone, Justin Tomasino, okayed you to come in. If you don't like it, after that 6 months, you can say to them, thank you, I appreciate it. No one's going to get mad at you.
Right.
You gave it. He goes, I'm not going nowhere, he said. And like this, the sky's the limit. So
it is. What you can accomplish working in the trades with homes and, supporting your family and, having all the nice things in life, right? It's at our fingertips. You just gotta work hard for it.
Yeah, 100%.
And he is, and a lot of the young guys are.
A lot of the young guys are.
Yeah. But what's nice is that you're that example to him. I'm that example to my son of now at the end, because a lot of the younger members, when you talk to them about retirement, it's 30 years from now. It goes in one ear and out the other. They get it. They understand. But
They can't even imagine what 40 years from now.
Right. And somebody like yourself that's living it now and is collecting that pension, right, can say, hey, kid, look what I got. My life hasn't skipped a beat.
No.
And I'm not working. You're an inspector now, but, things have changed for me. And this is because of
100%.
all these years that I worked.
That's the whole thing is what I always, when he came in, start your 401. Well, they had a little rough patches with the economy, but as you start your 401, every time I was always you get your raise, whatever it is, $1.50, take 50 cents.
That's the message I sent to
my mother always told my father, if you got $1 and you take 50 cents and put it here, forget about it, leave it alone.
Yep.
When I retired, I had a 7-figure annuity. I had 6-figure a 401. Not because I'm anybody special,
right?
Because I always grew up from maybe it's the old Sicilians in my household. 40 years comes quick. It's next thing you know, it's now retirement. I know guys, and we all know guys that are living off Social Security and whatever have you, and they can't. I could stop working. I do this because I love and this is still me being in the industry, being a third-party guy.
Right.
I told my son that. You don't have to have $1 million. Put it, when you know what you're going to have when you retire. You're 20, he's 26 years old. In 40 years from now, you know what you're going to have? But that's so far away. No, it's not. Next thing you know, and that's what, when I was with you guys, with the young kids in the mentor program, that's the first thing I said.
Yeah.
Take $1, put it aside, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
You won't even notice it. These guys are making, I think, what is it? I was just looking at Mike, $50 an hour as an apprentice.
Yeah.
That's great money. You're making $100,000 a year. So take $10,000 and put it aside.
Yeah.
And hopefully some of them, because remember, a couple of years ago, we were upstairs here. Lenny was there, a couple of shop stewards were there, and we're looking out the window. And Lenny goes, there's something? All the old timers got 75 power.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking, and the kids, who's got the big, the 150 Raptor? No, that's great. What do you got in the back?
Yeah.
I don't need it. No, yes, you do. So he learned that, and I hope a lot of guys learn that, so.
I think they do. What I do is, whether it was that mentor program, we do a lot of outreach. That's part of our job here, is to go to schools and universities and vocational schools and, do outreach for the business. And one of the things I do is I have a very simple compound interest app on my phone. And I'll just start from the beginning with very, very conservative numbers, right? I don't, because it's more time consuming, so I won't put in annual raise.
Yeah.
I won't figure in overtime. So I'll base everything off of today's numbers with no overtime and no raises. Now, we get raised every year.
Yeah.
Right? Overtime is part of the gig. But I don't include none of that and figure out their annuity based off today's rate and 401k, not putting the max away.
No, you don't have to.
And you come to like $4-5 million.
100%.
And that's the floor.
100%.
Kid coming in today. coming in out of high school, maybe coming in based off the kid's 20, graduated high school, played around a little bit, whatever, comes in at 20 years old, works for 35 to 40 years. That kid's that kid's graduating his business. He's retiring $6, $7, $8 million in the bank.
Oh,
and when you talk
no
those
doubt.
numbers to these guys, that's what perks them up.
My son, like I said, only as I could see, my son with it, I tell him, you're going to have the money. If I wasn't doing as I try to explain to them, I do the third party with the company that I'm with to keep me busy and still involved, like I said, with the industry. I don't need to do it. This union and what I saved when I was 20, I took a $500,000 life insurance policy when I was 25 years old. People thought I was nuts. Now it's paid for. God forbid something happens to me. My wife is taken care of.
Right. If
I don't win, if I happen to me tomorrow, my wife is very comfortable. I'm making the same amount of money when I was working for Kone with our international and the annuity and the 401. I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what you have to go for. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. No, yes. I hope to God, no, but play it smart. And I'm hoping I see my son, I see a few kids, I tell them, they said, you know what, you're right. Yeah, you're not going to miss that. Maybe you're not going to go out to dinner 5 nights a week. So you know what? Put it aside. And you're right. By the time they get out,
forget about it.
They're going to be a few $1 million. Okay, it's cost of living is going to be, but they're going to be a few $1 million. I saw the other day, they're saying about white collar workers coming out of college. That's almost gone now because it is AI. Our industry, I'm sure AI is going to get involved in it. But again, blue collar industry with local one, if you're smart and you can just fly.
Sure.
And that's hopefully these kids learn by that.
Yeah. When you talk about our benefits, right, our retirement benefits, but also our healthcare, right? Our healthcare, when you compare that, when you talk to other people, I don't care who it is. I don't care what industry. The building trades always has the best healthcare. No, it's not just us, it's everybody else too.
Yeah.
They always have the best healthcare. You go into the doctor and they run your card. And the guy says, "Oh, hold on a second." They'll come out and they roll a red carpet out and like, "Come on in."
You know what? It's the truth.
It is the truth.
We go to the doctor now. Like my wife is a few years younger than me. So when I retired, for her to get the benefit, I guess we consider Cobra, it's like $600 a month. So someone said to me from another union, another, we get it for free. I says, yeah, but I got no copay. My wife goes to the doctor whenever she goes, they look at that card, they say, and when one of our brothers, he had surgery over almost $1 million in surgery. Mike, we're Cooney.
Right.
We were talking about that one day. He paid $300 deductible. You cannot, I think our benefits comparable to none. And that's the other thing. I'm retired. It's my secondary. My wife is covered. That's the other thing you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
So
and those are two things that are tough to talk to young guys coming out there like,
you're never going to get sick. Never going to hurt yourself. You know what? It's when you turn 65, 66, it does come quick again. The benefits, that's got to be, they don't realize either, that's included in your package.
Right.
So, well, I'm only making X. No, think about the benefits you got. And again, your annuity, and that you're making very good money.
Yeah. Not only you're making good money, but you're working in an industry, right, that's providing you with skills that you're going to learn that.
Always need elevators.
Well, listen, you always need to do something. Like I said, just working around the house. You're doing, you're not hiring nobody to do these kind of things. When you see, your neighbors hiring somebody to go do some electrical work, like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah, no,
So
it's a good trade.
It's a great trade. All the trades great. My grandfather was a painter. My great grandfather was a painter. My father was in the electrical union. They weren't, it was all. Listen, they supported their families, and put everybody to work. But staying in the trades, we kind of call it generational wealth, right?
Yes.
Where it keeps going, and every generation that follows that stays in the trades just does that much better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Does that much better. Your son, he stays in his business, is going to be infinitely more well off than you are right now, and you're in great shape. Same thing with me. I'm in great shape. I could retire tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. But my kid in the business, when he retires, holy mackerel! It's my head spins with what he's going to have. And maybe doesn't have to work until he's 60, 61 years old.
Well, that's what it is. It's again, this industry is, like you said, it's generational. I look at it as I'm comfortable, and I'm that father. I watch everything he does. Like, he's still living at home, so my wife gets mad at me. I look at his annuity statements.
Oh, yeah.
I look at his pension. I look at his payroll. She goes, I want to see. Why'd you take off that day? Oh, okay. You watch everything? I watch everything. Because you are in this business. Again, I'll go back to it. If you want to make something yourself, you have to show that you are responsible. And by being responsible, you're there. Your boss calls you up, I need you, I'm there. You're going to make a ton of money. And again, the pension, our pension is with the international, it's hourly work. So I built 11 extra pension years just by working overtime.
Right.
And, helped my family. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did it for me. But then you say, well, listen, my pension, local one pension, is phenomenal. And hopefully these kids today, they get it.
They get it. How long after high school did you get into the business?
I graduated high school, I was 17. I went to work in the meat market for 4 years, so 21, 22,
So
21.
what would have been that other industry that you would have been like, man, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be, before the elevator business became a thing for you?
The funny part was, I had two choices. My father was working in Alphabet City. There's the Con-Edison plant downtown. Right. He was doing that job. And Staley was working there. And that's why also, between my friend Richie and Staley's construction boss, my father knew. But he was also friends with the electricians on the job. So it was either, because I liked work on my hands, I like the typical kid, take things apart, put them back together again. It was either electricians or local one. And I hope that I made the right decision. But it was either that, I was going to do something in the trades.
So that was always your path.
When I was, my mother still has it. I think I was 8. I had you go to school, they say draw, whatever. I drew, I swear to my, God bless my father, a picture. It was an elevator. I drew an elevator, right?
Really?
I was 8, 9 years old. And a line right in the middle, box. Maybe it was just the simplest thing to do in school, like this. So the teacher goes, what is that? It's an elevator. He goes, I don't see no people. The door's closed. But I always wanted to do something with electrical, mechanical. I got 2 older brothers who were not into any of that.
Right.
But me, I was always, I take the old kid, take the toaster apart, whatever, and take the TV apart. My father would scream and holler.
Yes. So you're like the rare guy, because most of the kids coming out, myself included, whether it's going to college or having, some other, and coming into the trades, falls into your lap. You meet somebody. For me, it was meeting my wife, who's, father worked in the business. For other people, it's a neighbor. For somebody else, they meet somebody where they
inevitably,
work.
that's what happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm meeting my friend Richie, but before that, like I said, I always wanted to do something with my hands, and the elevator business was great. Like I said, I went to Kingsborough Community College for, I want to say 2 years, maybe that long. I was hanging out, and then I went to the meat market with my brother. But that wasn't fulfilling. This job it's something special when you do 2 things. If you're in construction, it's something special when you're at the end of the job and you watch the car get turned over.
Sure.
It's something special when you're working and you're troubleshooting, and there's a lot of pressure on you, especially at night when you're working on some foreign equipment.
Some old lady in a wheelchair sitting in the lobby.
I always just say Otis, the 411s, it was always like, but when you get it running and you say, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
Mod, same thing. When you finished it, there was always something good about, I did that. And that was the fulfilling part for me.
Yeah.
The meat market was you're cutting pigs, whatever, but it wasn't, that's why I was.
Hey, somebody's got to cut pigs.
Somebody got to cut pigs, bro. Ham sandwich is
Wasn't
pretty
going to
good.
be me, but
It wasn't going to be me, but honestly, that's what it was. I always had to see that finished product. I go today, again, when I'm working now in this business with the third party, and I've tested Kone. I do a lot of testing with another retired guy, not retired, Abel. He does the,
right.
And we go to a lot of Kone jobs. And I say, that was on my route. The guy goes, yeah, when I came back 25 years ago, I had this car on my route. I'm sorry, it makes me feel, it's nostalgia or whatever. I was in construction. I did that job.
Yeah.
And that's to me, it's always special like that.
Listen, the other thing too is you had to work, right? Building something. Now, how many times you drive past that building? Like I built, part of that building, but for me, the relationships that you make with the people that you work with, right? For the most part, the guys stayed. You work with the same guys year after year. Some guys are coming and going, but working for that shop, Staley, a smaller shop, is a family-owned business, and
15 years together.
You forge these relationships with people, and the friendships that you make.
No, I got friends. I got friends of mine who, again, my son, the wedding's coming up. I have invited friends of mine that I haven't seen in 30 years.
Yeah.
But I call them, I say, I'm coming. One friend of mine's driving down from Florida just because. I said, no, I understand. Just letting you know, no, I'm coming. And you forge those relationships that people don't understand. It's a family. We're a family. You want to call it, like they say, it's a brotherhood and sisterhood. It's 100%.
It is.
I go to retirement parties now. I see guys. We're always, call me. I'm there. Like we just said a little while ago. With the business, you make a phone call with the local. If you, Lenny, or somebody, can you do me a favor? I'm there.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll make it work around it, but it's what it is. It's a family.
Yeah.
It's not called a brotherhood for no reason.
No, it is. And that's what it's all about. Right?
100%.
Yeah. So why don't you give our younger listeners a little message when it comes to, and we've talked about it, the retirement, the 401k. That's, everybody can say, hey, do the 401k, but where you are right now and what you're able to do because of what you did over the years, being smart with your money. That's the other thing too, right? We can do things like, I'll do 401k, but there's another level to that, just being smart with your money, right? You talked about looking out the window and seeing pickup trucks and all that jazz, right? Yeah. So if you got it, even your son or a young kid, what's that one real good piece of advice that you could?
The piece of advice I tell every young kid that I run into is that it's sad to say, maybe not sad, but it is going to end someday, no matter what it is, whether it's physical or age-wise. This business is not going to last you forever. You think you're going to. At the beginning, you come in this business, like I said before, take a nickel, dime, a quarter, I don't care what it is, put it into your annuity and forget about it, because 30 years comes quick. And just prepare yourself. And like you just said a few minutes ago, if you're smart, invest. You don't have to see. I going to invest my money. You don't have to be a big investor. Just take. I was brought. Take a dime. We get $1.50 raise. That comes out to 60, 70 cents in your pocket. Take a quarter. Put it over here.
Right.
Open your 401. Forget about it. Just forget, because when you're ready to get out, it's going to be there. God forbid. And I told all these kids, God forbid you get hurt. We have other things that they say compensation. God forbid, you can't do this no more. They say, well, now what do we do? Go on disability? No, but if you have that little nest egg, you can support. Right. They helped me tremendously. My best thing to tell kids is take a little piece and put it aside.
Yeah.
Even if you have I own a home. Okay, so what? You can't put $10, $15, $50 a month? Just forget about it. Next thing you know, that $50 a month in the bank, like you just said. Now, when you're ready to get, you got a couple of $100,000 plus your pension. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and it gets up to a big number like that. That's when it takes over. Yeah. Now you watch those statements come in and your interests, and like, wow, look at that.
That's before I retired. I remember this. It's hysterical. Nick got into business. I stayed 6 months after Nick got in, only because I actually did a couple of night clean downs, only because I told him I want to work with him once, side by side with my son. It was the greatest moment in the world. But he looks, because Dad, look at this. I got $10,000 in my annuity. I went to break his shoes a little bit. He says, your interest is what, $2,000? This is what you're going to have. My interest is $100,000.
Yeah.
And not because I'm anybody special, but that's because, and the other thing is, with our annuity, like I said about our pension, the hours, your annuity builds up with your hours. So if you're doing overtime, that's annuity too.
Right.
And so the biggest thing I got with these kids today is, don't think it's never going to, tomorrow's not coming. Put a little on the side and you'll be fine.
Yeah, they will. So you got the opportunity to work with him.
Oh, that was, yeah, it was funny because the new shop steward, Jason Tozelli,
Yeah.
he was doing clean downs, and he says, I want to call Nick up. And I said, great. This is, by the way, would you mind if I worked? Because I never do clean downs. He says, yeah, why? I said, I just want to work, and I have a video of him. I just want to work once.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it brought it brought tears to my wife. Laughed at me. She goes, because I'll always have this. That I said I worked. My father worked side by side with him, and again, he loves the business because I think a lot of these kids and my son and your, I know your boys too, and he's telling them, it's something to accomplish. Every day is something, and I always drill it into him. Don't think you know everything, because every day is something different. And he says, you know, matter of fact, he comes home now, even today. Oh, we had a shutdown, whatever. Okay. And his mechanic, Al Cox, we send him in after a while, sent him into the motor room by himself to learn. You're not going to fix it, Nick, but so he come home proud. I got the car running. All right. How'd you get the car running? What do you mean? I said, you got it running. What did you do? I don't understand. What were your steps? I drilled it in. Tell me your steps. You walked into the motor room. What did you see? And my wife was standing there looking. No, because anybody could fix it. Eventually, you're going to fix it.
Right.
And every day, they would come home and tell me, I found this. This is how I did it. It became redundant.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know, it's something else. Yes, every day is something different. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, that's what's great about the trade. Yeah, and it will humble you. When you think you got it licked, especially as a maintenance man, and I've been there many times and like, man, I'm in a roll here. You know, it's been a couple of weeks, months of fixing everything, and then whammo, you get that shut down and it'll take you right down.
What do they say? All those attaboys in that one bank.
Oh, yeah.
Especially at night calls.
Oh, yeah.
And you're working. Okay, got that one. I got that one.
Without
The next thing, oh, man, it could bring you to a reality. And
very quickly.
But you know what?
That's what's great, though. It keeps your mind going.
I always told them, you're not going to fix everything.
No.
I know adjusters that spend 4 or 5 days on a job.
Sure.
Okay, they're in a different stratosphere. But not everyone can fix it. The idea is to tell me how you fixed it.
Yep.
If you can, I drilled it into them. If you can read a print, that's for the classes you guys get. Print reading, study that. Learn how to read it, use a meter. Use that. If you can do all that, you got half the business solved.
Yeah.
Because when we grew in this business, how many guys couldn't read a print?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And these kids, so it's redundant to say that, but he's doing very well. So I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, I am too. You know, I know him, and I, you know, just as a second generation and seeing the kid come in, I know he was a little starry-eyed coming in, like, where's this going? And just to watch him, you know, come in and find his place and find his way and do well. I know he makes you proud.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's fantastic.
When he came home and said, hey, Dad, you know, his future wife said to me, he said to me, you know, all these guys I'm meeting are just like my father. I says, What does that mean? No, but they're normal. Yes, and they're out to help you. How many guys gave him their phone number? Nick, any issues, give me a call. You working? You have a problem, question? I says, that's what we do. Again, it's going to go back to it. It's a brotherhood, a sisterhood. And to the day in 100 years, God hoping you die, it's going to be that way. And it has.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
100%.
Yeah, you're like one of those success stories where you...
I want to think so.
Yeah, you are, because you came in, you had a long career, you stayed healthy.
Yes.
Right? I don't think at least I don't know of any...
No, the normal 66-year-old stuff, that's it. No, nothing
bumps
else.
And bruises along the way, but you stayed, you work smart, you work safe, right? That's another message that we gotta send to these guys, and I'm sure, listen, my heart is in my throat sometimes. Nicholas is in service and 100%. Being out there at night, and I know what the challenges are. I know when you're tired, you're trying to get something, you know, working safe is the most important thing. And I know it probably weighs on your mind too, knowing this kid's in a dangerous place every day.
I always drill that into him too. Even when I was working, I don't care if you're in this business 20 years or 2 days.
Yeah.
If you feel that something is, I don't care who the mechanic is.
Yep.
He could be the top guy. If you're not comfortable, and you could be wrong, when you're not comfortable and you're wrong about not being, I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Stop.
Yep.
I'm not comfortable doing that. We all know in this industry there are tragedies that happen. I've lost friends that, it's okay. No, I'm not comfortable doing it.
Right.
Nobody will ever condemn you. Even if you're a mechanic or your boss wants to write you up, I don't care.
No, it doesn't matter.
Because mistakes are like that. And there's not a second mistake.
Yeah, very quick. You got to go home at the end of the day.
Exactly.
With all your fingers and toes.
Exactly.
And if you got to take a step back, you take a step back. That's
it's 100%.
Sure.
Do you want to be with your family? You know, and I drilled. That's the other thing. If you want to see what I tell these kids, don't be afraid to say something. Well, because I remember with your mentor meetings, with the mentor meetings, one kid said, "But if I say something," and I was a steward at the time. Here's my. And they weren't working for Koenig. I think one kid was with Tissin, maybe Otis. Here's my phone number. If you're not comfortable talking to your steward, and I'm not knocking their steward, I don't even know the guy. If you're not, you want me to call me. I'll call Dennis. At that time, it was Dennis or Lee or Gary, whoever, and I'll take care of it. I said, but never be afraid to say something.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow the sun comes up, and if you're not there, it sucks.
Yeah, sure it does.
That's one of the things you say about it. Just remember, what would I tell these kids? Don't be afraid to say something.
Right. That's the most important thing.
Because what is it? We're here for a better life, not a shorter one.
Right.
So
100%.
That's 100%.
100%. But yeah, Tony, listen, I really appreciate you coming down. Like I said, when I thought of guys to come down and just send that message out there to not just our younger members, our older members too.
They forget
41 years in this business. You worked safe. You never got yourself, hurt to the point where you couldn't work. You made a lot of money. You retired. You're enjoying
my life.
Everything that
That's right.
This trade, the building trade has to offer.
That's right.
And it's, a lot of people, you may not realize it, but look up to somebody like you and say, man, I gotta get to where that guy is. How do I do it? And this is part of why we're doing this.
That's right.
To send that message out to these younger guys. It might seem that it's obvious how to get from A to B.
No, it's not.
It's not so obvious to a lot of people. And to be able to come in and talk about how you get into the business, right? You were a guy that was handy and was going to work with his hands. Some people come out of high school, they're not handy, but they fall into this business, fall in love with it, and they become, great mechanics.
That's right.
Right?
That's it. It's. I am glad. I'm kind of proud. Not kind of. I am proud of what I've done in this business, and I'm proud of the younger kids who came in this business. Proud of the whole thing, and like I said, I still talk to people, and my wife says, we say in Italian, you're like a yachiron. I like talking to people, and I says, okay, but I know if I say one thing to a young kid, and he says thank you. And that's the God's honest truth. That makes me feel great. I'm doing something.
Yeah.
So we got over 100 years in this industry, and we'll be over 100 more, hopefully.
Hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Hope so, because it kind of has to. For your kid to collect the pension that you're getting.
I got mine. They got to get yours.
That kid's probably just coming out of the womb. That's going to be, putting into the plan. So we got to keep this thing going. We got to help our younger guys thrive. They are thriving. We got to keep it that way.
100%.
And that's what, that's what we're trying to do here. And you're like a trailblazer, right? One of those young guys that been around for a while and showed us guys that are still here how it's done. And I appreciate you. You're a real good friend to me when we were working here, both as a friend, but also as a colleague, as a, another shop steward.
Thank you.
Things that we've talked about. And, we're always on the same path. Same wavelength and how we want about
I'm
things.
still here to help anybody I can help as long as I can do it.
So God bless you, bro. Looking after your kid, just know that when that name pops up, listen, everybody we look after, but he's a little special attention to what Nick Alessandro's doing. So just let him know it's not just his father.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Thank you, Rich.
It's my pleasure, bro. So listen, thank you for coming down. I appreciate it. You're a stand-up guy, and I'll tell you what, I'll end it with this. You're one of those people that, I have never heard anybody say anything but respectful things about you.
Thank you, sir.
It says a lot about yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Who's going for coffee?